I think we're live.
Yay!
I thought I did this last time.
It looks good to me, but I have zero idea.
Oh my goodness. So welcome to Light a Joint with Ida. I am Ida Pearl Lee, and today I have Sarah Birney with me.
Yes, I'm so excited to be here.
Thank
I love
you.
watching these. I love hanging out with Ida. So
Oh, well, I love doing them. There's so much, and I get to hang out with my friends.
yeah, right. You know, Monday morning, smoke a joint with your friend. I'm in.
Right? It's the best way to start your week.
Yes.
So today we are smoking Z Crasher.
Yes.
And this is your flower. Look at how pretty this is.
And it's not our normal packaging, but
I love your design though.
Thank you.
How did you come up with your design?
I had a dream, dreamt it up. It was perfect. And I said, let's go with it, and had my friend make it.
Oh, I love that.
She's like, I'm going to play around and change this and change that. I was like, nope, it's already perfect. We're just going to go with it.
Yeah. And you're in dispensaries.
Yep. So we're in almost 50 dispensaries around the state. So that's our Z Crasher. I also have some apple fritter, which is my favorite.
Oh,
And
nice.
both of them are on the market now. But we're in most of those with CBD, and then a handful of them with THC. THC's new. But
Okay, so that's your newest product is
Yep.
the THC.
Yep.
And then how long have you done the CBD for?
So we started that as like a beta test in 2018. So
Okay.
basically we were just waiting for the farm bill, and we did some beta tests before that. And once that hit, then we came to market the next month.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so exciting.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to make you go get some of your bottles real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm pulling out all my stuff. I want to showcase what her products look like. So I'm having her run and get some real quick.
You probably got to see they're always on display.
I
in the
did,
bathroom.
yes.
In every room they are. And these are used. but-
They're so cute.
Yeah, so we mostly have tinctures, all CBD tinctures. This is a CBG tincture. Turmeric is our bestseller by far. And
Is
then we have a topical healing salve as well, which I swear by. I use it for absolutely everything.
I know. I use them like head to toe.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter. Like wrinkles,
Oh, yeah.
cracked feet, doesn't matter.
Well, I give some people a sample, and they're like, I'm going to use this for a long time. And I'm like, a little sample jar is like 1 or 2 uses for me.
Oh,
I'm
I
like,
know.
slather everything.
I know. I just left my mom with a jar too, and I'm like, you'll never run out. Please use it as much as you want. Like,
Yeah.
don't conserve it.
Right. We use it for massages too. So like you're really getting it out, and it's like cover my whole back.
Yes.
Back
yes.
pain. It's amazing for back pain. I mean, I swear by it for like menstrual cramps as well.
Okay.
That's one of the times, and I get headaches real bad. So,
Oh.
and when I get a headache, it's like temples, jaw, shoulder, neck, like everywhere.
So what do you do? What do you put it on you? Like around your
Just
face?
kind
and
of
your
rub
neck?
it in. Yep,
Okay.
rub it in everywhere, and it'll just help to loosen it. But I like to use the turmeric as well
Mhm.
for headaches specifically. So you're kind of doing the internal
Mm-hmm.
and the external at the same time.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, people ask us sometimes, do you use your products? And I'm like, oh man. Like, I swear by these products. I use them maybe too much. I don't know.
So, gosh, how long have we known each other for now?
I was thinking about that, and I have no idea.
I want to say
a
like
couple years.
Yeah, like 2 or 3 maybe.
Yeah, I just can't remember like the moment I met you, which is surprising.
I know.
But it was through the MICIA, I think, or through Robin. I'm not sure. I imagine the association.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know we met, and I must have been at an event. Like, was it even a couple years ago? Maybe it was at I think it's when we joined the association.
I think it is when you joined the
Yeah.
association.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then since then, it's like, oh my gosh, we have so much in common, and it's just really easy to hang out.
We do have a lot in common.
We do.
So, okay, let's start with your background though. How was cannabis for you growing up? What did your parents think about it?
Yeah.
How were you raised?
Yeah. Pretty cannabis positive. Okay, so not even so much for my parents, but I'm the youngest of 4.
Okay.
So there was cannabis around more so for me than for my siblings, just because I'm 8 years younger than my sister.
Okay. So I
And
only
so-
have, I'm sorry to interrupt
yeah.
you. I only have one rolling tray.
Right. So she's going to teach me because I'm married to a roller extraordinaire. So I don't ever roll joints. I smoke a lot of them, but I do not roll them. And I have some of these, but I've never used one.
Okay. Well, we're gonna use a
Okay.
tip. Do you use tips?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Brian does.
Well, these are kind of big.
So you just rip it
Yeah, just
in half.
no. Which way? So you want to rip it long ways. Gotcha. Yeah. Some tips, for whatever reason, are super long, and some are super short.
I mean, these are all actually like clean right now. We're like always ripping them off of the.
Yeah. Any paper, any cardboard. Oh, you want the little filter.
Oh yeah.
And then to do accordion back and forth.
I'm learning so much. We always spiral ours and just roll it up.
What do you mean?
Like, just roll it. Like
Okay. See, I do like a little accordion, and then I roll it.
So what's the accordion for?
Just to help give that extra little
filter in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I like it.
Yeah.
The things that you can learn on Monday morning.
So I'm sorry, you were telling us about your parents, your background.
Yes. So I don't know the first time I was really around it because I was young.
Okay.
But my siblings smoked it. My parents my mom doesn't smoke it, but she's a very open-minded person.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell people this, I'm like, never once in my life has my mom told me what to do or think.
Wow.
But if I ask her something,
Mm-hmm.
she'll answer anything.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like, I grew up in this, who are you and what do you want to be? And how do you want to walk in the world? Like, that's okay.
I love that. That's
I
a really interesting perspective
It
in
is.
raising children.
Right. And she raised 4 and they're all, she's got some pretty awesome kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that was a huge piece of it. Like I had direction when I asked for it,
Mm-hmm.
but never, you should grow up to be a doctor or a lawyer or whatever. It was just like, well, what do you want to do?
Right.
So even when it comes to cannabis, they were pretty forward thinking with that. And I think there was contention when my brother and sister initially got in trouble for it. I don't know how old they were, but I remember things like that. I remember them getting in trouble for having cannabis or them finding bongs in the house or whatever. And that was kind of a point of contention. And I don't know how old they are to know if it was like, okay, maybe they were too young or it just wasn't around like it is now.
Mm-hmm.
But my sister, I hope she doesn't mind me telling all of this, but she just had all A's, and she said, I have all A's. Yes, I smoke pot. Talk to me when my grades drop. And that's just such a brilliant point.
Yes, I have a child, unfortunately, before cannabis was legal.
Yeah.
And I grew up, where you're, the egg in the frying pan, this is your brain on drugs. And it's like, I responded how my parents responded, and I had to go back and talk to my son and say, and apologize.
Yeah.
And say, I'm sorry, this is a medicine. And oh, by the way, we're using it for your sister now.
Right. Yeah. So how old was he at that point?
I think he was 14.
Okay. Yeah.
But again, straight A student,
Yeah.
Never, and what it was is we found the Zippo lighter. We would have never
known besides
never
that.
known.
Yeah.
And what was the harm?
Right.
Other than being safe, we don't talk about it enough with our kids. There's not those open conversations, and for them to, but yeah, alcohol's everywhere.
I know. Right.
It's in every household
and can actually kill somebody.
Well, and let's talk about gateway drug, that kills me. Okay. So you got your thing ready?
I got it.
So your brother and sister got into trouble.
Yeah. I just remember one time they got in trouble and I don't know if it was the same time. Again, I'm 8 years younger than her. So I don't know if it was the same time, the same conversation that she said, hey, I have all A's. I just remember us talking about that and my mom saying, it makes sense. Like that does make sense. But, my brother's a glass blower. He had dreadlocks. I definitely was thought of and talked about as being a pothead as a kid.
Okay.
And because of that, I actually didn't smoke until I was 17.
Oh.
And a lot of my friends smoked at 14, 15, 16. And because I already had that stigma that bothered me, I didn't dislike that people did it, but I just I don't need to do that.
Right.
I don't know. I just didn't do it for a while. And then once I started, I was like, okay, this is for me. And it just never stopped. But I had all A's. I was, a good student. I was able to do both. So it just depends. it functions differently for every person.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm finding is it's different at different times of your life too.
Yes, that's so true.
Yeah. It's like very much an anxiety killer for me right now, where there was a time where it would produce anxiety in my life. Okay. So it depends. And it's just where I'm at right now. It's like at the end of the day, if I need to take that entrepreneur brain that never turns off and turn it off, I can do it this way. But sometimes it's like, then you get all your best ideas too.
I know, right? All right, go ahead and pop that in there.
Just on the end?
Yeah. And we're going to move it back over here so you, and then, yeah, I'll let you do that. Scoop it up in there.
So the people can see how I do for my first one. Oh, see, this seems like too much.
No. Yep, put a lot in there. You're good. Keep going. Fill it up.
This is how I teach. No. Put a lot. Keep going.
All right, go ahead and set that down because you're going to take your fingers and like push it down now. Here, set it on the tray. So
I see.
Stabilization. There you go.
Okay. So get a little aggressive.
There you go. And then go ahead and fold it closed.
I popped the thing out.
Oh, no, you're supposed to. Yeah, pop it in.
Pop it in.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then what I do is I roll it first before I put the paper in to make sure I've got a good.
Here.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Here, you can take this if you need to.
2 of us at one time.
I have to remember an extra rolling tray next time.
I probably have one upstairs, but.
Yeah.
We can't be too prepared.
Nah, I mean, this is light a joint with light.
I can't figure out how to roll it, guys.
Oh, here, let me do it. This is a newer one.
Okay.
So it might be.
So you just push it both one way. Okay.
Yeah. And then.
It's a collaboration.
It is. There's your paper. And then you just want to set it in there. And fold it closed.
And I want.
Yep. So the strip you want to be up top.
Going that direction.
You're going to roll it towards you.
I always thought these things were easy. No.
Well, this is your first time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I still have a hard time with it. This is my favorite roller, actually. It's from Greenstem. I love Katie and George. But
we all got to go to dinner. They're amazing.
Oh, did you?
With you.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Nope, Sarah can't do it. Wait.
It just has to catch.
I just can't get it to roll.
Okay, now before it gets too low, you want to get it just right above where you're going to lick it.
Oh my gosh, so they roll the same direction. Okay.
Yeah.
Try not to lick your roller.
Oh, wow. That's what,
it's just part of the game here.
Yeah. Alcohol score.
I finally figured out how to make it roll.
Yay!
Okay, and then just pop it open?
Yep, pop it. So you got to pull that back up and out. There you go.
Okay.
Check it out, girl.
Okay.
Yeah, you got it.
Cheers. It worked out, guys. I'm like, can I?
And then what I typically do is I'll take it over, or I'll turn it over and just kind of like tap it. Where's your filter? Okay, yeah. That way it's not, doesn't spill out the end of the joint. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if I finished. I don't know. I grew up in a pretty forward-thinking cannabis family.
Yeah.
And only more and more. And again, just being so young compared to everyone else, like my family all got into cannabis.
Okay.
So, I mean, the minute that everything went legal in 2008, like we all got our cards. Not all of us, but a lot of us started growing. Like I started growing.
And what made you want to start growing?
I had been just in cannabis. I mean, once I smoked it, I was like, this is amazing and this is helpful and fun. I mean, at the beginning, I used it because it was fun. You just knew
that you had to be in this,
yeah,
whatever that meant.
Yeah. I mean, so
that's awesome.
Yeah. My passion's health and it's natural health and like getting people preventative health and getting people just to a place that they feel good because so many people don't feel good and are just told. I mean, I've had numerous health things happen where I've been told like, oh, you'll have this forever. I'm like, I just don't accept that.
Right.
And maybe I get something that I can't battle at some point. I don't know, but I just don't really accept that. Like, I think we can change our lives.
Yeah. So you said you're passionate about health.
Yes.
What else are you passionate about?
Okay. Health. I mean, I definitely am passionate about cannabis, but I'm passionate about plants. Like, it's not just cannabis, and that's where our products come from. Like, I was going to take cannabis and put it with other plants. So very much plant, natural living. I'm really passionate about music.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not.
Do you play?
I play ukulele a little bit. My dad built all of those. So
she has a wall of
like
5 ukuleles.
There's a mandolin. That's Brian's. We play. My dad plays a lot. And I also just love to go see music. We've gotten to see music together.
We have, yes.
It's just like, it's another one of those, whatever's going on in the world doesn't matter. Not in the world, but in your personal life. You can just go and enjoy and feel the music. And
you can move and
when it hits, you feel no pain.
Exactly.
Or you go watch sad music and then it brings up all the pain. I mean, it goes either way.
So true. So true. It doesn't matter what. Music is different for everybody. Yeah.
And I've like gone through a lot of different types of music that I really love.
Okay.
Too. I kind of love most music, but yeah, it's something that we love to do together a lot. We travel for music a lot.
Nice.
Yes.
I'm starting to do that.
Yeah. We can go to more.
Yes, we will.
We're going to a concert tonight. It's Monday. It's a good Monday for Sarah.
Yes, it is.
What else? I mean, I'm passionate about exercise. Like, I have a background. Became a yoga teacher, I don't know, 12 years ago maybe. So I'm not teaching, but I don't know that there's ever a time in my life if something's not going well, or I do experience more anxiety. And cannabis, like, it can be used to take away anxiety right away, but it's still not addressing. I'm all about root cause.
Right.
Why are you having anxiety? It's always that I haven't moved my body enough. Always. Like, I can always come back to that. So I'm pretty passionate about physical movement, and it's mostly walking these days. Like, I'm not running a marathon. I'm just moving. Simple.
Yes. Yeah. I know. I feel, we're getting to that age where, my friends are starting to retire, and it's like, well, what's your hobby? What are you going to be doing after you retire?
Everything.
And well, yeah, but it's important, to have a desire or something that you love to do, a hobby, because again, if you don't have something intentional that you're, making yourself get up for, and you're being, people depend on you, and that's a real thing. And I feel like when we literally stop moving, we die.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, truthfully.
Yeah.
Well, I think, like, I don't know. Brian and I love change too. Like, people are like, is this your forever home? I'm like, nothing's forever besides our love for each other, but just, you don't have to have it figured out if you're going to retire, because there's so much that you can still experience that you don't know that you're going to love.
Well, and you're never too old to do anything.
Yeah.
That's the kicker.
Right.
Yeah.
I see kids play all the time. We're pretty, like, fun and like to play, and we're the cool aunt and uncle, but I'm still like, I'm not choosing to do the hopscotch when I walk by and stuff. I just like want to be a kid again and lean into physical movement all the time.
Because it's fun.
Yeah.
There's no worries, there's no cares. I mean, you're just out there living life.
And then you get older, and it's like, the answer is kind of like, there's no worries, there's no cares, but there are.
Yeah, it's all an illusion. So you went to Western?
I went to Western. So I started out, I'm from the area, so I went to Okemos for high school, and then I started at Lansing Community College.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, and literally all my friends and my now husband went to Western.
So we have the same background, because I went to Western too.
Yeah, right. And like all the other schools we did are the same.
Yeah, we have a lot in common.
Yeah. Well, I went to KVCC first. So I transferred community college. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like, in high school, I was like, I'm going to be an accountant. Thankfully, I didn't do that. I like numbers, though. But then I went to KVCC. The first class I took was yoga, like in college.
Oh, nice.
And wellness and fitness. And I was like, something, I've always been in that.
Drawn towards it. Yes.
But I still didn't know, like, what that answer was, what I was going to do. So I ended up, after I did my 2 years community college, I went to Western for dietetics.
Yes.
That's what she went to. To be honest, it just wasn't for me. Like, I was like, why are we teaching people to drink Diet Coke?
Yes.
And have low-fat yogurt?
Sugar-free and all that crap. Yeah.
And
processed foods.
A stubborn little, like, well, what about this? And what about that? And they literally told me, Sarah, you asked too many questions. You just need to learn and observe. And I was like, is this? And I just started researching it, and the Dietetic Association is funded by the Dairy Association. And then I just went down the rabbit hole of figuring out how much bullshit it all was. Sorry, I respect dietitians. If anyone's a dietitian, I respect you. But I don't think people go to school for dietetics knowing what they're getting into. Like most things people go to school for. So
do you know how many doctors are actually trained in nutrition?
0.
I
think they get 4 hours.
One semester. It's one class.
So I know a few doctors that, of course, let us go out, get 4 hours, like a partial credit. That's not a class. That's 4 hours.
Yeah. And that's our lives. That's our livelihood. Like, we need food to survive. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, all this stuff about fake food, it's like, dude, it's already here.
I know.
I'll look at anything processed.
Well, that's why, like, supplementation, I've gone through the, like, get all your nutrients from food and then supplement stuff. It's like, no, if you're growing it in your backyard, you still have pesticides flying around. Like, it's just impossible to get all your nutrients from food, I think. This day and age. It's just sad.
It is sad.
But it's the truth. And
it is,
once I admitted that, I was like able to help myself a little bit more. But yeah, I dropped out. So I'm not a college grad. I dropped
out too.
It's just not for people like us.
You know what did it for me?
What?
Was philosophy. I love philosophy.
Yeah.
And I had a philosophy class, and I gave, whatever it was, I wrote the paper on it, and I failed. And I went to the professor. I'm like, why did I? And he was like, well, you needed to do this. And I was like,
you need to do it my way.
Isn't this philosophy?
Right.
Like, don't you want my interpretation?
Right.
And I was just blown away. And I was like, I just really started, looking at it a different way. I'm like, this is not what I want. This is not what I want.
Yeah. And I only know the dietetics program, but it's like, if you don't fit into this box, there's not a place for you.
Exactly.
And I was told you're going to work in a hospital with people who are already sick, that you basically just have to feed them low fat, low sugar foods because they have X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, I just knew there was something different. I didn't know what to do. I just dropped out. I was like, Mom, I'm dropping out. And my sister was in the Peace Corps in Tonga. I was like, I'm going to visit Alice.
Oh, good for you.
We're a traveling family. She's like, you're going to learn plenty more. Like, go ahead.
Wow. So she supported your decision.
She supports everything.
Nice.
Yeah, she's amazing. So I went for 3 months. Like, the next semester, I just booked it. Brian and I had been dating for like a few months. I was like, hey, bye.
So did you meet in college?
We met in high school.
But
we started dating in college.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I went traveling, and I learned a lot, and I just like kind of fell in love with yoga and body work. So I came back and went to school for massage because it was just more preventative. And it was amazing. The school was amazing. It's not what I wanted to do, but I'm still really happy for that training.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I want to learn how to do craniosacral therapy. That's my next venture.
We learned, we had a whole craniosacral class, and it's incredible. And to see what happens, and that's how I feel about CBD too. To get testimonials from body work like that, especially the energy work or CBD, it's like, how can you not be doing something like that?
So how did you transition into CBD?
So we ended up, I wanted to do nutrition, so I ended up going to the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, which she did too. Because it was just more preventative nutrition, like real food.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Well, and I felt like I learned so much more.
Oh my gosh. Just the number one thing you learn is how to listen to people.
Yes.
And I so appreciate that. And it's helped me so much in my life. Like, everyone's hurting. They mostly need someone to listen to them, not tell them what to do.
Well, yes, there's a difference between listening and actively, just giving advice when asked for it, instead of talking to somebody. Yeah. And it's like, I don't want to be talked to. No. Like, let's have a conversation.
Nobody wants that. And even and I think that's where a doctor-patient relationship gets into that too. And that's a different story. But I loved the Institute for Integrative Nutrition so much that I encouraged Brian to go. And he had graduated already. So he went through the program when we lived in Costa Rica. We moved to Costa Rica.
Why did you guys go to Costa Rica?
Because why not?
I love that.
Yeah, because it was cold. In a way, honestly, everyone was getting raided, and we had a big grow. And
what year was this?
Scared. 2014, I think. Yeah, really bad with dates.
I am too. Don't worry about
it. But around that time. So we had been doing it for a while, and everyone was getting raided, and people I know and love. And I was like, just scared and fed up. And we had a full career and a full grow that we were keeping under wraps. And I was burnt out. So we said, we don't have kids. We had 2 dogs. So let's move them to Costa Rica for a couple of years.
Nice.
Yeah. And he did IIN, Institute for Integrated Nutrition, while we were down there. So then we launched a superfood line. And we kind of did that together with our basis and learning from IIN.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So like brain superfoods, green superfoods. We had a cacao one because that's prevalent.
Did you have a company name and everything?
Nourished World.
Oh, I love that.
And to run retreats. And we did healthy eating programs where we taught people not lose weight and do a strict thing, but how to cook.
Once people understand how to cook their food and how to learn to live to eat instead of eating to live, there's a whole difference there.
There is. And I went too far one direction, to be honest, that I had to learn to have fun with food again and eat for pleasure. And that changed too. And that's the thing. You need different things at different times.
Yes.
Some people need to be way more strict and have some boundaries and create new habits, and other people need to learn to let loose.
Yep.
And it's it goes both ways.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we really both leaned into superfoods and nutrition, being entrepreneurs together, which we've just always done that.
Just naturally
since the
gravitated.
First grow, too. I mean, that's what we were doing.
Okay. What did Brian go to school for?
So sustainability.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, environmental education. So it just leans into what we're doing so well.
Totally meshing
It's
together.
amazing.
Yeah. Nice.
And he loved it. And I think that was a really amazing program at Western, so he kind of had a different experience than what I did.
Wow.
But we were in the grows. We always grew, switched to tropical jungle life and superfoods and brought it home.
Oh, okay.
With the intention of opening a dispensary when everything was starting to look.
And now what year was this? You came back?
We came back in 2016.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we were there for about 2 years.
Yeah, a good little chunk of time.
And this is where Brian would have gone, when did we go? Are my years right? But the dispensary obviously never happened.
Why was that?
A million reasons. I mean, it was just taking a long time. We spent all of our days in the town hall meetings and trying to figure out what to do and get investments. We didn't have any money.
Right. Yeah, that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we grew a CBD strain in, 2010 or something. Nobody wanted it. Nobody wanted to touch it.
So will you explain what CBD is and why we need it? Why is it so important? And because I feel like it just kind of gets thrown by the wayside sometimes.
It does. Well, and at the same time, it started to get, mainstream. And I was like, oh my God, people wouldn't talk about this before, but now they are. And that's kind of where we saw we can do this without having to go through some of the rigmarole of opening a dispensary and financially too. I mean, I don't have loads of money to put into that.
Right.
But okay, so CBD, the thing is we all have an endocannabinoid system. We all know THC. And we do events all the time and people are like, no, I got the real stuff. And I'm like, they're both cannabinoids. They're this.
What makes it the real stuff?
Well, they're both real stuff.
Well, exactly.
They're all cannabinoids.
Yes.
So it's now people are talking about CBG and we're going to learn more about CBC and CBN and all these other ones. And that's fascinating because we're going to learn about ones we've never heard of.
I know they're coming up with new ones every day. It's incredible.
And there's over 200 now, I think.
Research, we have to let the research just go.
And that's why I like to embrace cannabis instead of just CBD or just THC or, one thing. Because it's we don't even know what we're going to love next.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's got to be something else. But we all have an endocannabinoid system. So this is something naturally occurring. And I believe prohibition really changed this because hemp's a weed.
Yes.
So it used to just grow. We put burdock in our salve. There's burdock growing in my backyard that I'm trying to get out. It's a weed.
Yeah.
But it's a medicinal weed and hemp is the same. It used to grow everywhere.
Animals
used to graze on it. They would process it. They had CBD and milk and, in what we would then consume from an animal. So it used to just be part of our world.
Exactly.
And then.
Well, I've heard that there's a plant medicine for every human ailment.
I believe it.
we don't have that knowledge. I mean, there's certain people who do, but unfortunately as a whole society, the entire world has lost that knowledge. And that's, to me, that's just devastating.
Especially in this country. I mean, other countries lean into it a lot. They have those roots. We have those roots too, but we've had them pulled out.
Hey, we have to kill dandelions in our yard. I mean,
instead of make honey or dandelion. So my dad made a dandelion wine when I was a kid. We picked all the dandelions. That was fun. I don't know. It's just like, it used to be part of our body. Okay. But what I've learned, and this is the way that I've learned about CBD, and there's a lot of different ways to explain it, but I was in a seminar with a chiropractor and it just landed really well with me. I understood it. So when we have something negative happen in our life, like even someone honks at you while you're driving and that's stressful, or breathing the air when you're on a nice, wonderful walk, like things happen to our body that release two enzymes, FAH and MAGL, and they go in, and what they do is the receptor site of the endocannabinoid system, they plug it. So you have receptor sites and these two enzymes plug it. So it essentially shuts the entire system down. I like to say it like gunks it up. It's like you need an oil change, that. But the endocannabinoid system's connected to every single system. So reproductive, respiratory, and that's why I think it gets the miracle oil or snake oil, because it helps everything. But it's connected to your nervous system, your brain. I mean, it's connected to everything. Entire system. It is.
Our bodies.
Yeah. And he explained it as a communicator between systems. And so if that's gunked up and shut down, like what happens if you don't get an oil change and your car can't communicate? I mean, it breaks down.
It's the same thing. Right.
And it might be in a, I don't know enough about cars to really go into that analogy that just came up. But I mean, it could be a different spot. When your car breaks, it's not always the same thing. Same with a body. So it's shut down. And CBD specifically, and I don't know exactly THC's roles on these two enzymes, but the CBD goes in and essentially like consumes those two negative enzymes, we'll call them, and you can flush them through your body. So we look at CBD as like a two-phase process, clearing out, oil change, if you will, and then adding in the good stuff, and it can kind of, I say, fire up the endocannabinoid system. So it might fire up the communication from your brain to your reproductive system that wasn't happening, and just kind of get everything moving again.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. I think that's the best way I've heard it explained myself.
Yeah. I mean, it really I think it's more complex than that, but that was an easy way for me to understand it, and to understand I was a little like, well, how does this help everything? I mean, it's hard to see something that's like, it'll fix everything. You're like, well, what's a side effect? What's this? There's a lot of those questions.
Exactly.
And then when it's like, well, it fires up your body to work as your body's supposed to, which is my entire background and belief, that you get the body back to homeostasis.
Exactly.
This is just a tool to help it get there.
Because what is it, like every 7 years, like our body regenerates?
I think
so
every
it's like
cell regenerates.
So it's like if you can keep them at the primal and optimum, working capacity, you're going to regenerate those same cells, and that's why our eyes go bad.
You can make change, and I've had a couple health things come up where it's like, no, you're never going to get over that. But when well, that cell's going to regenerate in 7 years.
Exactly.
And things can keep going the way you don't want them to go too. It's not like it's easy to make healthy change all the time.
No. Well, I think a lot of it is discipline. And I think that's something that unfortunately as a society too, we're not really taught how to do. We don't meditate. And unfortunately, that's seen as satanic a lot of the times, or it's a sin. And I learned how to meditate in karate. So for me, it taught me how to go through my day and work through whatever was bothering me, set it aside. I went into class, did my class, and was like, now when I'm done with class, I can deal with my issues. And that's how I just transitioned into life. And so when I broke my wrist, same thing. I was given a 10% chance mobility because I broke both bones. And as soon as I was out of the cast, I was in the bathtub every morning, warming it, stretching it, meditating for an hour. And I mean, I had a child in a wheelchair. Wow. It's like 10%, that's not going to work for me.
You're going to have to figure this out.
Yes. So if I can't roll a joint by hand, that's why, I have a roller. But And that's the thing, I mean, CBD, that I was taking a lot of CBD at that time
Mm-hmm.
and not fully understanding
like how it was repairing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fascinating. And I think the thing about like, oh, you're only going to get this percentage, like we do change, we do age. It's like, what's our 100% when we're 34 is different than when you were 17. Like,
exactly.
So figuring that out. And I think one of my biggest like underlying, this is how health and humans work, is we're all different.
Yes. Yes. and accept that we're all different and embrace the difference.
Yeah. And that's like using meditation as an example. Some people need more like rigidity in their life and some people do not.
Yeah.
So it's like who needs what at what time. And when it comes to health, and this is what IINs kind of like talk it through, you can figure anything out. I've studied a little bit more of like the functional medicine of testing, because what's going on in your body is different than mine.
Exactly.
And what I did to fix something might not be what you need. Cannabis is the same. There's a different thing for whatever stage of life you're in, what you're working on right now, and what your chemical makeup is. And it changes.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's having that open mind to accept that, it's okay that it's not working this way, but hey, it's working for me in this way now. Yeah. And I think that does confuse a lot of people.
Right. It'll change. Like, and Brian and I talk about like, he used to smoke more and now I kind of smoke more. And it's like what it does for each of us at each time. Like, what are we going through mentally, emotionally, physically, whatever.
Exactly.
The world's a weird place right now.
Yeah. Well, and it's just us having that acceptance and compassion, and again, because we're all going through it.
Yeah.
Just maybe in different stages.
Find compassion for yourself is usually
which is the hardest thing.
One.
Yeah. I really feel like we are our own worst enemy. Like we're the only ones in our head. We allow whomever we want to say to us in our heads.
Right. And that's where meditation, and I mean, I don't meditate regularly, and there's been times in my life where I have and haven't, but our brain doesn't stop.
No.
So it's the only time you can get a glimpse of like just taking a break. It's like a nap for your brain so it can regenerate.
Yes. Yeah. And it just, for me, it just, you find that nice and quiet, and, things will pop up, and it's like, okay, go away. Like I'll think about you in a little bit. Yeah. And it's, again, it's just that discipline and understanding that has to transition into our food. And I like to eat sugar too, but it's not good for me.
I mean, but it's also natural. I mean, that's like, what kind of sugar is it? Is it made up fake chemical sugar or is it a berry off the tree in the back?
Exactly.
And there's room for both because I'm kind of addicted to ice cream.
Oh, I'm dairy free. So.
Well, but I can make you some beautiful vegan ice cream. I was vegan for a few years, so I know how to make everything vegan.
I was too. So I will take that vegan ice cream.
Yeah, you learn a lot about how to feed yourself when you're vegan. And I think for me, it ended up not being the greatest thing, but I learned so much about food and so much about how to prepare food and how to have discipline with that.
Yes.
Because you can't just stop and get anything, especially like on a road trip. There is no vegan food anywhere around.
You have to be prepared. I mean, I would, plan for trips and have to bring all of our food with us.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I kind of was always making food, and then I was like, this is a little much.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how did that transition into Blooming Botanicals?
Yeah. So we moved home to do the dispensary, and that never was like a bad thing. We just said, hey, people are like actually listening about CBD now. Well, we're waiting. Let's start this and do the beta test. Okay. People come to me for health issues.
Right.
All the time. That's just who I am and who I've positioned myself to be. So I tried CBD with a few people. The results were incredible. It wasn't my product, but I started getting my own product and playing around with formulation and putting, like I said, putting other things with it. Like what happens when you put turmeric with it? And my mom's dog had this huge, right between the shoulder blades, this huge tumor that was like growing by the day. And she couldn't really walk. We were going to put her down because we didn't know, but she wasn't in pain. My mom went to put her down and came home with the dog. I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, oh, the dog's not in pain. We're going to try to remove it. But we had a month. We got her CBD. It went away.
It went away?
And that's the only change we did. So it's like, we don't know it's from that, but it was really remarkable. So I have that in my back pocket. We helped a couple friends that needed it for either acute pain or more chronic issues. And we were just getting these testimonials that were amazing. So we're still very excited about cannabis and THC and wanting to do that. But we did a beta test. And I mean, it was amazing.
This is so cool.
Yeah. So we didn't have the brand at that time. We just had a beta test. We made our own labels. We had been entrepreneurs. We made like our superfood labels, and we had just had a lot of experience in being entrepreneurs and not knowing anything when you start,
right,
and figuring it out.
yeah. I mean, the mistakes have to be made. You have to learn. Yeah. And you're still here.
Right. And we learned honestly a lot from superfood. So when we went into Blooming Botanicals, like more so it worked. It just worked. And like we had this line, it was a beta test. People were loving it. And then, like I said, I just had a dream. So my yoga background and everything is kind of based on the chakra system. So that's where, hopefully we have.
I love that. The colors.
Yeah.
Let's see. Where's the package?
Yeah, you can see it a little bit around that.
Yeah, I love that. Your colors. That is so cool.
Yeah, and it just kind of like came out, and we're like, okay, Blooming Botanicals. And that's a lot about plants. That's a lot about cannabis. That's a lot about who you are. And like we said, you can always change. You can bloom into something new. What do you want to be or do?
Right.
So it all just kind of came out, and we're like, okay, this is perfect. And just, it was set.
Did you find that you had to like fight to bring awareness about CBD, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like amongst your community, your friends, your family, or?
No, because it kind of became so mainstream. So at the beginning, no one would consume these CBD strains, so we did then, but we just kind of said like, okay, whatever, we won't grow that again.
Okay.
And then once we really started, I mean, it went federally legal. So everyone started talking about it. Like it was a hot topic that day.
So minds were open.
Yeah.
And let's look into this and investigate it.
There was some people, I mean, you definitely run into people that think it's snake oil or something. And so I just went to as many conferences as I could and learned as much as possible, and read books and tried to understand it and figure out a way to feed that to people that wasn't too complicated. And we had some people like, everyone and their mom sells CBD, and you get a little bit of that, but I'm like, who's still here? I don't know. It's not just selling CBD. Like it's marketing, it's business.
Exactly.
It's lawyers and accounting. Like it's everything.
It's everything. Yeah. Well, and the testimonials. I think that's the most important, because if people can understand, like, again, it might not work for me, but if it's an option, I can try it.
And how are other people using it? Wait, you use that salve for menstrual cramps? Women all the time.
Yes.
I say that, and they're like, or their husbands or boyfriends or girlfriends or whoever, like, oh my gosh, it's so bad for her. I need that, because they didn't think about it in that way. So, educating in that way, but people were pretty open to listening. Good. I would say. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And pretty receptive. You just get, some people said like, oh, it's too mainstream. It's too like, it's just coming online. Well, it's going to be saturated. They were worried for us as a company. Like, it's too saturated. You have too much competition. Oh my goodness. And I was like, we were scared of that. But what happened is it just made it a household name. And then instead of us teaching people why you should take CBD, it was more of, well, how do you get quality? Like the questions changed immediately. Well, how do I know it's quality? Wait, the gas station has it and I don't trust it. And then we were able to only teach about quality, not convincing people they need CBD. They already wanted it. But then we just got to be, how can we make it more bioavailable and help specific ailments, and kind of lean into the more fun part. That's awesome. Yeah. We got to figure that out for the THC side now. I know, right? Yes. Why is that so difficult? I don't know. I mean, I think a lot is like, people don't look at it as medical because it is so fun, recreational, right. That they're not like, oh, I can use that to solve X, Y, or Z, or at least help mitigate X, Y, or Z. Yes. I don't get testimonials on the THC side for our products that compare at all to the CBD side. It's not that people don't love it and are having, fun with it. And it's like, this product's really great, but people say this product saved my life on the CBD side. So I think, I don't know. I just don't think people look at it in the same way. Interesting. Yeah. Even though it can help a lot of things, you can just do it because you're going to a concert. Right. It's fun. Right. It makes things more fun. Right. Well, yeah. And unfortunately, I think, because we do, our only comparison really is alcohol. Yeah. If you think about it. And I think people do, kind of view it as alcohol, like a recreational thing. Yeah. And yes, it can be, but it's for my family, it was definitely a medicine. Yeah. And
That's what the core value of it is.
Yeah.
And even when we're doing it recreational, it's still a medicine.
Mm-hmm. Right. Totally. I mean, I think the best thing about CBD is probably it's not psychoactive.
Yes.
So it's not going to be, people are using it because they need it.
Correct.
Or preventative,
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I really understood about the endocannabinoid system is like, sometimes people do something until they feel better and then they stop.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine. You need different things in different phases.
Right.
But is anything stressful going to happen to you? So can you keep those two enzymes at bay instead of let them gunk up the
every
system?
single day
Yeah.
throughout the entire 24 hours?
Yeah. I mean, and that's like not things that we are doing to ourselves. Like I said, get honked at, see an accident, see something traumatic, have something painful happen in your life. Like, then keep that at bay. So I love the preventative aspect mostly.
It's full spectrum. It's understanding that this is a full spectrum medicine and we need all components of the plant.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's why all of our products will always be full spectrum. Because, and I dabbled with a CBD isolate. It has no flavor. So that's really convenient for certain things, but I never felt the same effects. And the testimonials definitely weren't there for me and my products of how I was building them.
Interesting.
And all cannabinoids are amazing. Like we don't know if it's CBD doing all these things or if it's another cannabinoid that registers the same way that we don't know about yet. So I think full spec, that's how I try to eat, and there's a time and a place for everything.
Yes.
But I want to eat whole plants. I want to, consume whole plant medicine as much as possible.
Right. Well, yeah. Especially like when you garden, that's when you're making your food. It's you have an intimate relationship with your food as you're cooking it.
Yeah.
And when you say that saying I made it with love. You actually do.
Yeah.
Because your heart and soul is going into what you're preparing.
Yeah. Also how you plate it.
Yeah.
How you take time with it. So Brian and I eat dinner together every night and we cook a lot. We both love to. And we set the table and we put our phones away. It's not strict that we have to do this, but we just love that time. And we love to take time with it and eat slow and talk. And we run a business together. So there's plenty to talk about all the time.
Yes,
Sometimes we have to put that to the side, but I don't know. So another passion is growing flowers now. So I've always been a huge veggie gardener.
Ooh.
And that's where I'm at. I'm just kind of pleasure is also really good because I used to be so disciplined and it had to be really good for me or I wouldn't do it. And now it's why would you grow something that you can't consume?
Right.
And now I'm just growing flowers like crazy just to cut them and have them all around my house. Yeah.
So you're enjoying that.
I'm enjoying that. So
good
that's one of my newer passions.
Good for you. Yeah. That's super important.
Yeah.
Yes.
So and I've really the reason I know about different stages is because I've gone through so many different types of things. Super vegan and completely disciplined taught me a lot, and also it's not sustainable.
Yes. Well, but what it's understanding too that what you're going through, your experiences are teaching you, and you're learning those lessons.
Oh yeah.
And it's okay, to change your mind.
Yeah.
And it's okay to try one thing and decide you don't like it and say, hey, I'm going to go over here and try this. And again, we all have to have that compassion for each other and understanding that if I can do it, you can do it too.
Yeah. Well, I think most people's biggest fear about business or whatever, it's something new is failing.
Yes.
And it's the most successful people would always tell you fail and fail fast because you have to just keep failing to learn anything.
Correct. That's how we learn.
Yeah. And then you get ahead, and people who are the most ahead and who I look up to, it's they failed so many times. And that's not what we remember. Right. No one's sitting at home thinking about how many times someone else failed,
No, we're only thinking about ourselves again.
Yeah. And that's just where all the lessons come from. That's what you can teach other people. And I think that's the same thing with this health perspective is I was kind of an annoying vegan that thought everyone should be vegan.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I talked a ton about it, but all the recipes I put out were vegan. It was vegan. Yeah. So I just shared that lifestyle. And I don't think I ever pressured anyone to do anything, but that type of person can be really annoying.
well, again, though, when you have a certain amount of knowledge, you want to share it.
Yeah.
Because I've learned it, and you want to share it with others. You want them to learn it too and understand, hey, this is working for me. Why don't you try this? And people don't like change.
No.
Even though we change every single day.
Oh yeah. And
People
change can
don't
be
like
so
change.
beautiful, but it's scary. And I think the reason it's scary is because you might fail.
Yes.
And it's like, but if that's where you learn, let's do it. Let's always change. We love change.
Right.
But yeah, so I had to learn kind of that in order to gain the perspective of like, okay, maybe that will bio-individuality.
Yes.
Like, and IIN helped me a lot with that. It's like I leaned into the superfoods and the raw food movement and vegan food and all that, which is lovely. And I love vegan food and I love to cook it. And I just love food. But now I eat everything. But without having that, I wouldn't have the knowledge of seeing someone and being like, maybe you do need more discipline. Maybe you don't.
Correct.
Maybe you need more pleasure. Maybe you need more rigidity. Like there's there's so many different things. And I only know that from going through it.
Yeah, well, that's just it. We have to experience certain things to understand and have the compassion for others who are experiencing those things, who don't really understand what they're experiencing.
Yeah. And then look to other people who have experienced things you haven't experienced.
Exactly.
It's like there's wisdom there.
Yes.
And I think our culture really gets that wrong.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I agree with you on that one.
Yeah. And to travel to other places, it's like that is not the case in other places.
I know. We are so sheltered here, and we have no clue. We have no idea how good we actually have it.
I know.
And I hate to say that, but it's like, people like, travel, get out there, go.
I think it's the best thing anyone can do.
Yes.
Travel, experience. I think experience trumps knowledge. You can understand how something works or read about it, but unless you've experienced it,
you just don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've learned everything from travel.
Right. Right.
Yeah. My family traveled a lot. So that's where I think I've taken a lot from that.
Okay. I wonder if that's where your parents' maybe open-mindedness came from too. Yeah.
I would. Yeah, I don't know. That would be an interesting thing to ask them.
Yeah. Well, now I'm thinking I need to get my kids and we have to go start traveling.
Yeah. Well, I went to Jamaica
where are we gonna go?
as a kid. I went to Jamaica and it was like changed my life. Because it was hard for me to see. It was hard for me to be from Okemos is known as kind of a hoity-toity. I mean, I grew up on a farm, but no one else did. They're all like had a lot of money. There was affluence there, and that's what I grew up around. And I went to the middle of nowhere, Jamaica, and I kind of had a panic attack about it. I came home and I didn't know. I was like, Mom, I don't know how to live. I know other people don't have these things, so I'm having this. I go to school and nobody knows other people live this way.
Right. Well, it's kind of like an identity crisis in a way.
It was.
Yes.
I didn't have any words for it. I didn't know. And she's like, you were born here in Mason, Michigan for whatever reason. I don't know, but this is where you're supposed to be. You don't have to feel bad about what you have. You just have to like be aware and try to do good.
Yeah.
So that was one of my first kind of, a big learning lessons, I think.
That's a really good one.
What's going on in the world.
That's a really good one.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then we just traveled a lot more, and we went to Jamaica a lot. My parents always go to Jamaica.
My favorite place.
Yeah. And we've gone to some of the same places.
Yes, we have.
Not together, unfortunately.
Not yet.
Yeah. It's been a long time since I've been back, but I don't know. It's just a different pace. It's a different way of life. That's why we went to Costa Rica too. I'm like, people call it Tico time. It's like Pura Vida, like chill out. Everyone's moving slower.
Yes.
Some people call it island time. It's like, that's our time. Brian and I really fit in that.
Yes. I loved it while I was there. I really found my groove.
And you come back and you're like, I'm going to stay in that groove. And it's impossible.
I didn't even want to come back.
I know. We didn't think you were going to.
I told Robin that was her number one job. I'm like, you have one job. And she's like, what's that? I'm like, to make sure I come home.
That plane,
I got to come back.
Oh, yeah. And then life changes. It kind of flips it. And it's really hard to maintain that kind of slow pace when you live somewhere like this.
Right.
And that was always really hard for me. But it's like, I don't know. You can lean into that too. Being fast and busy has its perks.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you've come full circle in your life?
I mean, I think there's a lot more I'm going to do, and I have no idea what it is. But
I'm excited to hear that.
Yeah. But I do think, like, I don't know. I love the path I chose. It's like if I was going to give anyone advice when they're younger, I'm like, learn something about health.
Good for you.
Because it's not, I was learning about Chinese culture with women and what they pass on. And it's just like, you have to learn, I think it was about conception. And they was like, when someone's 11, 12, they teach them like, not get ready to have a baby tomorrow, but it's a lifelong process to prep your body to be ready for life, pregnancy, whatever comes at you, you need to be preventative, like bolster up your reserves because life's hard. And if people can learn that early on, it's not, oh my gosh, this thing happened and now I have to relearn everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I feel like full circle in that way, like I'm on a great path that I've always wanted to be on. I think that there's more, and there's probably a lot more even outside of the cannabis space that I really miss the retreats and, like detox programs, healthy eating group programs and coaching and stuff. I miss all of that. So I think there's more of that. And they all go together.
That.
Yeah, they all go together. So it's like, I don't want to leave anything. It's just kind of more the lifestyle piece of it, because I've been real heavy into working too hard as an entrepreneur with this business. So I'm like, okay, and I don't know how to do it differently.
Right.
I think it just takes hustle at the beginning.
It does. It takes a lot of hustle.
Maybe if you have a lot of money, it doesn't, but we started with next to nothing and turned it into something pretty big, and that takes hustle.
Well, and which is huge in itself. And it does take a lot of hustle, and that shows your dedication and how many times you did fail, because you are succeeding.
Yeah.
And you're all across the state in dispensaries, which is so cool.
I know, I love it. And everyone else is like, wait, because you just don't know, like, okay, did the superfood program take off? It doesn't matter what people think, but at one point I went to my mom. Again, she's great. And I was like, I have failed so much. Everything I do is a failure. And she's like, everything you have done got you to this point. She helped me like see it that way.
Right.
And now when I look at this business, it's like, it's literally a perfect culmination of everything we've done.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I'm like, I've learned a lot. I wouldn't be able to this wouldn't be what it is if we hadn't gone through everything we did.
Exactly.
And I think there's a little piece of like stepping into, take care of yourself more than just hustle and have that lifestyle component to the business too.
She sounds like an amazing woman. I need to meet her soon.
Yeah. I mean, the whole family is. I come from like a pretty amazing, like eclectic family. Yeah.
I know your brother's cool.
Yeah. So he's a glass blower, and like he didn't want to go to college. He wanted to learn how to blow glass,
which is awesome. I love watching those shows on Netflix. Like, I want to learn how to do that. And that's a lot of work.
I mean, I don't think I could stand like that for that many hours. Hard on their body. They all need salve, and it's good for burns too, and all that.
Right.
So it's good. But my mom was just like, okay, well, I'll buy you your first torch instead of sending you to community college. Or whatever.
I love that.
Regular college, whatever you choose, it's just that support. Like, oh, you want to do that? Okay. Well, he's still doing it. He's taught countless people how to do it. Like, it wasn't a hobby for a year or whatever, what a lot of other people think it might be.
Right.
You want to do something, whatever, become a lawyer instead.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people say. And it's like, he made something incredible.
Yes.
Because I think he was supported
found his own
from
path.
The start.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. I'm definitely rethinking, like, how I want to, like, when I have grandkids finally, maybe if I ever do. Yeah. No pressure, kids.
Right. I know. Now my mom she's like now a super grandma. She's got grandbabies, and it's really cool to watch that shift as well. Yeah. But I didn't go to school. I didn't graduate. I have gone to school forever, so much school, a lot of trade schools and this and that, but there's just so many paths, so many ways to eat and to live and to be educated.
Well, and we sometimes fall in that belief that we have to have a degree.
Oh yeah.
A degree for what? Life?
I mean, once I went to college, I was like, that degree was going to train me to be a soldier in someone else's army.
Exactly.
That is not, but like Brian's degree was so beautiful and he learned so much and it was great. So it depends on where you are, what you're learning. Yes. So many things.
I really wish we had more internships.
Yeah.
Like true internships where we didn't send them to school, teach them all the book knowledge and then put them out in the field. Like, no, like they need to learn this like right from the get-go, like right from the beginning. And I just think our society would be so much better and we would help each other more.
Yeah. That's what trade schools are. Yeah. Basically. So so many like massage school, you go to it for 6 months and then you start seeing clients and they help you through that process for the next 6 months.
Exactly.
IIM's the same way. Yoga's the same way. I think that's actually what I leaned into. I was like, I need help when I get started instead of here's your training, go, good luck.
Yes.
It's like, I mean, that's one way to get fast experience, I guess, but you need experience and you need to process that with someone
exactly
who has already done it.
Yes.
I think.
Yep. That's all the time we have. This
we
was
could
so
do this for
fun.
hours.
I know. I think that's like my biggest thing. It's like, oh, it's so fun to do, and then an hour goes by like that.
It really did go fast too. Well, and I probably took extra time trying to figure out how to roll that.
Oh
joint.
no. Well, thank you so much for letting me come over and interviewing you and being on my show.
Thanks for
and
having
hanging.
me.
Yeah.
I know. What's next for Sarah and Ida? I don't know. Probably a lot more fun stuff. We have all the same backgrounds. We should.
Yes, we do. We need to get together and have a little chat.
Yeah. A chat, and we'll probably just end up at more concerts.
Probably.
We like to have fun together.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Yes,
I loved
the
whole conversation. It was so great.
Yeah. Well, good luck. Much continued success with
Thank
you
you.
and Brian and your brand. Yeah.
Right
Wherever
back
your
at ya.
path
I'm
leads
like
you.
curious to hear the next thing coming from this. We'll take that off screen, maybe.
Yeah, there you go. All right, everybody. This is my last show for the season. I'm getting ready to take 2 weeks off, enjoying the holiday and then regrouping for my next season. So I'm doing 8 shows a season and then, taking 2 weeks off. So hope everybody has a great afternoon. Enjoy your holiday season. Be safe and see y'all later. Peace.
Bye.